Hello, this is the remarkable podcast that I started of TK's platform that I'm with today. And the reason why I did that was because it's got so many followers, and it's always a beautiful experience to always jump off somebody else's success.
Yeah.
To get onto yours. This is Matlhogonolo Mponang. It's a podcast called The Remarkable. And today we're going to be having a conversation with TKay, where we're going to be silly, right?
Yeah, very.
And have fun.
I missed
and
that.
be honest.
I missed that stuff.
I missed that as well. So it's our last installment for the year.
Yeah.
We want to close off the year and have a reflection on the year thus far, and what we've been doing, what we've been thinking, and what we're taking into the year 2026, which we all hope will be a better year than 2025.
2025 for sure. Yeah.
Over to you, my friend.
How you doing?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, you're going to tell me welcome. I mean, we're welcoming each other.
I mean, see, now these are two great podcast hosts welcoming each other to the podcast, it gets like that.
But I think there's a format we're going to go with next year.
Of course.
Yeah. We're going to go with a format where we're going to have conversations, occasionally invite people. I think it's important for us to acknowledge the fact that we gel, we make sense.
We do.
In our own way.
We do.
Yeah.
So we're trying to bring that to the camera one more time. I mean, we started doing that, you and I, and then you obviously needed to start flying and, bring your own guests, and you obviously needed to, get the wings that you did. Funny, because we had Red Bull as sponsors. And you started flying so high and soaring, and I'm so proud of you. But now we need to get back to where it all began and just have fun, and talk about stuff that's happening in the country, in Africa, and the rest of the world.
Indeed, I think the thing about us is that we do have fun. And we're easy. And the thing is, though, I think sometimes it does, the message or, a lot gets lost in translation. But we've learned a lot. I've learned to listen more.
Let's talk about that, actually.
Don't start. This is not a social platform, but it is.
I mean, oh my goodness. You remember how it all started, right?
Yeah.
You have this great podcast called The Remarkable. So then we put out clips, and then it blows up on TikTok. And then a lot of people say, oh my gosh, she's not listening much, Could she listen much? How did you feel just like seeing those comments? You don't read much comments. Most of the time you rely on me telling you what's going on. You're a busy person. But when I told you that these are some of the comments, what how did you?
It was in my mind.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't think it's so much a construct of me being busy. It's a construct of me just self-preserving. Because, I once listened to Julia Roberts, and she was talking about how she doesn't listen to people when they say positive things about her and when they say negative things about her, because it's all the same. So I'll see people sharing clips or whatever content about me. And oftentimes when it's shared, it's shared and reshared. I even post stuff that's shared and reshared. But I unless it's stuff that I've originated, I don't really go to the comments. And then when it's comments that are even negative, I'll, not so much defend, because I think when somebody is giving you a negative comment, it's a gift. Feedback is a gift. Feedback is really a gift. And I want to say it was a bit like, but I kind of think I listened, But when I went back, I went back and I looked at, retrospectively, looked at the content. I was just like, but I did kind of interject. But I was a bit much. I've since, tried to evolve to a better platform of myself and a better place within myself. But the thing about it, TK, is I think with feedback, you need to be able to receive it, understand that it's coming from.
It's the hardest part, right?
Yeah, and even when it's coming from a malicious place, it's still feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's okay, you know. But at the end of the day, I don't think people are wasting sleep. You know, that people on social media, they post things where constantly they're thinking people are after them. I don't think I'm that important. You know, I remember even when I got my security detail, I'm like, I don't think anybody's trying to kill me.
Right. It's like, this is not necessary.
That is not necessary. I mean, nobody's trying to kill me.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people that start doing things, as you started doing the Remarkable podcast and they see these negative comments, most people want to back off of the whole idea. You know, did that ever cross your mind? Like, maybe let's not do this. You're stronger than that.
Nah.
Yeah.
I made of sterner stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I made of sterner stuff. But the thing is, I didn't start the podcast to be validated.
Ooh.
You know, I think people that start putting out public content and think that public content is gonna bring them or eke out a level of positivity simply because they're putting it out. I think that's very fallacious. I think at the end of the day, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to say things that people cannot relate to.
Of course.
Like, let's talk about the famous... I was trying to illustrate what a Banaba Skulu.
That blew up.
That blew up.
That really blew up.
And literally, that could have like...
my goodness.
And can we talk about
Let's
that,
do
friend?
it, yeah. Oh my
Because
goodness.
I was simply saying, in my life, my daughter, at the time, I had one child.
Yeah.
And we're literally driving. Going, and I'm a single parent, and you know, most of the time I'm one of these parents. By Lord, I'm terrible. I think I'm a terrible parent on some level because I'm always late. You know what I get? What's I late? You know, because that's what takes my time because I try and make them look pretty, and I try and make my child look pretty because I'm just such a believer in, you know, like just cleanliness. So I waste a lot of my time on that. By the time I get on the road, traffic, you know, and and it's in the thick of winter, and you're looking at these kids, and I want to go back to that, and I'm not even trying to justify it, but I'm trying to contextualize it,
which is what a lot of people missed.
Yeah, and when I said, and I'm like, Palisa, you know, get out my daughter, you know, and I can say where she is now because that's also...
It's going to be another thing.
Yeah, it's going to be another thing, you know. You know, and dude, I'm like looking at them, I'm like, but what, yeah, and this was years ago. And I think I was saying within the context of looking at our current president and people that don't come from privilege, where, you know, it's the day of the underdog. And then I was basically saying, and imagine one omo hitaring, omo koloing wa complain or wa sitwa ba bangwe bana ba ikela bentema wena meso wa go studio ko eleng gore wa go botswa dipotso tse eleng gore di maleba with your livelihood. You know, I remember my partner used to say to me, kanti batho ba mo studio ha ba re bolora ngwana ke A B C D, but the child is emerging. Emerging from what? An ocean, a pool. And you know, these are the kind of new age levels. And it makes sense. Your child is emerging. It's emerging from being themselves. It's emerging into a better version of themselves within the world, serving a greater purpose, because education is just not centered around academia. It's centered around so much more bigger. And the whole thing surprised me. God, it's like, God, I know again, that means Westwood, by the way. And I'm just like, yeah. But at a certain point, you don't respond. And I'm responding now, by the way, with intent, because you do choose okay, at one point I'll have an opportunity to respond to this and contextualize it. And I'm not even defending it. I mean, people that still feel the same way that they felt about the initial messaging can still feel that way. And I'm sure it's very legitimate within that world. And it's okay. But I was not, you know, the intent was not for me to come across like I'm being elitist. I was trying to personify the fact and the differential. Go to one child is coming from an environment where they're going to this public school, where this child is able to achieve. Even if you look at the people that had a lot of key organizations within our society and within any society, that people that really did not come from much. Not to say that I'm saying the kids that come from much are somewhat irrelevant
or less than,
or inadequate, right?
Or their destiny is not so beautiful more than the others.
That is not also my point, because
of course.
Ghana podcasting is quite mired. Yeah, go ahead.
So I love that. I love the fact that you say that, because it's a lot of things that then happen after that. A few more clips that we put out, that a few people had so many things to talk about. Your episodes, though, right? And your guests. You've had several.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Who are some of the people that you look back at? What are some of the things that you look back at this year? You started it this year, and you just sort of smiled. It was a learning curve with these guests. It was a laughing moment. It was a teachable moment, inspirational. What are some of those, I know one or two that were on the Remarkable, because I was sitting there with you. But I need you to go first and just dazzle me with.
Well, you're sitting there with all of them.
All of them, actually.
It's just that you commented on some, but some you didn't, as the producer. Listen, I loved having all of them. I think, the thing that I loved about my guests is that there are people that don't naturally podcast, all of them.
Yeah.
So I can't single out a single one of them.
Right.
I'll tell you, though, each and every single one of them. Let's start off with Mpo. Musman Utsile, to lay your life bare. Because cancer is also such a personal thing, and she touched in passing on other derivatives of her life and other elements of her life that I thought was very courageous and very brave, so it kind of stood out in my life. And maybe it's because her mom was also, my supervisor when I first started my first job, and so kudos to her.
Right.
Kudos to, my beautiful sister who wrote, the book to her sons, to her beautiful sons.
Lilebo, yeah?
Lilebo. I think Lilebo was exceptional, because oftentimes in life when you're beat down by whatever you're going through, and you go through whatever you go through, they say, it's not just about the falling. It's the falling is in the rising. We've all fallen, but it's how you rise. So that also tied into Mpo pretty well. Tapelo Lipe, somebody that I absolutely
brilliant.
adore. Brilliant. And
it's all of them, actually.
Somebody who's, that's why I said all of them, but I'm going to just get into them. Tapelo Lipe, it was beautiful for me to see this Tapelo Lipe. I want to put it out there because it's a public platform, and the powers that be should hear it. I don't understand why people like Tapelo Lipe are not utilized as a centers of power, as people that can change the trajectory of this country. I don't know why he is existent but is ignored. And I'm not saying people are intentionally ignoring him.
Right.
Let me put it out there because I also need to be clear on messaging.
Right.
I'm not saying Tapelo Lipe is being intentionally ignored, but he's not being actively utilized. And the same would go for your Tapelo Lesolo. What are the odds that we're talking about? 2 prayers, in one sequence of events. And Tapelo Lesolo is somebody who's very close to, Tapelo Lipe has given a few podcasts. Tapelo Lesolo never gives podcasts. See, I think
that was the first of his kind.
Yeah, right? I think it was. I mean, he's a content creator. In other ways, somebody that I believe in my heart of hearts is capable and has the potential of taking this country towards its next frontier. Then Bokabo Mutsumi. I mean, my boy for days, him and I, we call each other Black, because we lived in the U.S. During an era where blackness mattered, and it still does. And a lot of Botswana will say, "Yeah, your color, or, yeah." You know what? It's that's a different podcast. You know, that's a different.
That's 2026 right there.
Yeah. That's I just love everything about him. I love the fact that, you know, they're doing work that's remarkable and showing Botswana that we can indeed be these people that can do this work. And Yandile Nuku.
I recently saw her doing the moderation.
At the BSE.
The BSE.
Yeah, at the BSE.
And she looked amazing. And obviously in true Yandile style.
Yes.
Delivery was impeccable.
Yes, immaculate. Immaculate. I call her the Immaculate Conception. She's somebody who's very measured, very considered. Just makes you... And you know, she happened to be part and parcel of the Siamo Rotle Mohapi coaching and mentoring program that I run. But, you know, a lot of the people that are naturally attracted to these things, and I think I said it on the podcast with her, are people that actually don't need it. You know, they're people that are enhancing, you know, and taking it forward. And who else, man? There were so many people.
I want to marry Yandile.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck, my friend. It's a bit of a high standard. I don't think she'll understand where you are at 3, but yeah, try your luck.
Pray for me.
I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. There's a living God. Yeah.
So pretty much all of them, your guests, brilliant people. You know, one person asked me the other time, how does Matty choose her guests? What does she look at? What is the criteria? What does she do to determine whether or not this person could come on the podcast or not? So I've never had the chance. I mean, we always chill, but I reserve that question for the last podcast episode on the Remarkable for the year. So please.
No, I'm a bit of a... You know, I'm a bit of an intellectual snob.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, well, I'm an intellectual snob.
Yeah, there we go.
An intellectual snob doesn't mean academic snob. I don't, because first of all, I couldn't be an academic snob because I'm not that highly decorated when it comes to academics. I'm one of those people. But it's an open fact that, you know, I started a BSc degree in psychology. Finished it, started an MSc in clinical psychology, didn't finish it. Then came back home for reasons that will be explored in a different podcast episode. I respect people for what it is that they're able to provide from a place of thinking. So I've met Badisa, you know, like one more again here, we don't have a conversation. You know, I remember one time recently, you know, Mudisa Wapile, you know, Serobe, it's clean. Why is this I think yellow and I did.
Yep.
And it's Robert said, "Sit clean." Me happy sit clean because you don't want it too sanitized, like it's a jig. You want a little bit of brine, a little bit of munyana, all of manatanyana, lesuanyana, anyway, people wait to say, I guess whatever time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And what's about, you know, the concept of just how they can do all these things. So at this point, Reja liver, and it's warm and it's, you know, that scent. I get it for people the reason why Pudi is because of Monkwa Pudi.
I know.
But for people Rata Pudi because of Monkwa Pudi, because of the smell, the aroma of it, right? I mean, that's just the beautiful part about our environment, and you're out in the wild in the middle of nowhere, and the air is clear of toxins. You know, and you're like literally in a place where you're just able to be yourself, you know? And he was just like, I'm intellectualizing a very simplistic process. Like I'm like, when I feel like I go for any tata, I get a number like I would deep in
He was probably right. He was probably right.
No, nigga talk about faking ya. Now I feel like I get paid less a roll, just a roll, get paid less a bit, just a bit. It's what I
Right.
but the thing is, I and then we started to talk about other things, and the conversation, I can't get into it because of data privacy rights, but it was just like, this guy is an intellectual. And the farm owner, who's a very good friend of mine, I know he's going to say, and then, you know, and I said to him, oh, no, we are the 2 weeks later, I went, hey, you know, I had a conversation with this guy, and he was sharing his ideas about what I can do better, etc., etc.
Oh, wow.
But I'd never really given myself the opportunity to listen, to understand. So this is why I'm a bit of an intellectual snob, not from an academic snob. I'm not even a societal snob. Ask anybody who knows me, that's not my process. An intellectual I don't think it costs much to think. We're all born thinkers, natural thinkers. But that being said, I can also show grace to people that are not thinking on a level that I think is thinking, because there's somebody out there who's thinking, I'm not thinking. I am sure there's somebody who's thinking, oh, she thinks she's an intellectual snob, but I don't think she's much of a thinker, you know, or I don't think, you know, there is something.
The variety of people is,
Yeah, well, I get it. The world is a circumference
diverse,
across different divergent lines. And there's somebody who, my level of thinking might not be something that they're, you know, that they're aligned to. But I think the beauty, though, and intellectuals to me are not necessarily people that listen to you and agree with what you're thinking. I think an intellectual is a person who can listen to you and disagree with you, but still politely agree to disagree and still be divergent and hold their opinion and support it, or even allow themselves to have their mind be changed, which actually happens to be me a lot of the times. I'll come in with a steadfast perspective, and then I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense, because I think it's important to always think about the wisdom of the crowd. So from that perspective, I like people that see the world from a divergent perspective. We are coexisting with
it's the season, isn't it?
But I really slap her down. They need to exist.
I'll kill. Mosquitoes, flies.
when no,
I love that. So there was a conversation I had, and I want you to weigh in on it, right? People just having a great time over a few drinks, and they wondered if the president is an intelligent guy.
The president of Botswana?
Yeah.
The current president of Botswana? Because there have been several presidents.
Of course. Let me be very specific.
Yes.
The current president of the Republic of Botswana. This conversation or debate or discussion was centered around finding out whether or not how we know him, what we know about him, is he an intelligent man?
In that
intelligence.
No, but in that estimation, did they define how?
I was going to go there.
Intelligence.
I was going to go there. So the current president, obviously, is an academic scholar who is very intelligent. He's an advocate of the law, right? So to that, you definitely have to attach intelligence, right? So
from an academic perspective, certainly, yeah.
Of course.
From an articulation perspective as well, yeah.
Yes. So what I need to find out from you is, as a person, not specifically from an academic or academia, right? What he has studied, what he's such a master of. God, you see it in the parliament. You see it every time he speaks. The articulation is, it's like, oh my goodness, the wisdom that flows out of this comes out of these pages of books that he has spent so much time reading on. First of all, what is intelligence outside academia? And should you define that, attach it to whether or not our guy is such a person?
So.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I saw you thinking the whole time.
Yeah.
And then you're like, so.
Yes. So
I hope I'm not putting you under the bus, right? I don't.
No.
Yeah.
I actually think he's brilliant. It is his own way. I think he's brilliant. Let me just put it out there, but I'll qualify my statements thereafter. I think intelligence is a construct of one. I mean, it depends. I mean, there's academic intelligence where you're able to go into a learning environment, traditionally learning environments taught you something, and your ability to regurgitate and to exactly, tell your teachers what they had told you in written form or in oral form was considered to be intelligence, right?
Yes.
Again, let's start off there.
Yeah, right.
So as you grow older, then intelligence becomes your ability to curate your life and to curate your journey. But that is also quagmired by the fact that, like, for instance, let's take batho ba dirileng the sciences. I went to school with extremely intelligent people academically, that because of an education system that was not predisposed towards understanding how to look at the different polarities of education from a multi-sectoral factor, where you look at the fact that a person can be a scientist, a person can be an artist, a person can be a hybrid of the two. A person can be in the social sciences, a person can be a lawyer. Then a lot of people were lost in between the different gradients of the system. And it's very unfair because I've got friends and associates and acquaintances that right? Because ultimately people always want to translate, and we get into intelligence vis-a-vis success and what it means.
Of course, yeah.
And these people end up, they did things. I did not. Yeah, I passed at school, you know what I mean? But the people that did exceedingly well at school, that went and did BSc, got things that, I mean, ask anybody who knows about that BSc program, the people that went through it, I don't think those people slept. I mean, hey, some of us, some of us, we bowed out quite early in the day. We didn't even reach the point.
Throw in the towel?
No, I don't even think I reached the level where I was required to throw in the towel.
Oh my goodness!
No, honestly, and these individuals ended up becoming, they were freaking intelligent, and then they ended up becoming physics teachers, and they wanted to be physicists. They ended up becoming chemistry teachers, biology teachers, and they wanted to be biologists. They wanted to be chemistry teachers. These individuals within any system in the world, by any measure, in any standard, and this is why I say at the time the University of Botswana was organizing a level of rigor. It's almost like the University of Botswana went from an extreme sense of toughness from a rigor perspective to another one which is quite lax. I mean, at least as recent accounts would show. And I say this allegedly, I should say allegedly, because there's a podcast, and I did sit on the University of Botswana Council, so I don't want to come across like I'm attacking anybody. But I think the quality of education in Botswana has ebbed. I think it's no longer the quality of education that it was, but I think at some point it was too extreme, and I think it was too exclusive to where it cut out certain individuals that were people that could have been great scientists, chemists, biologists outside of the world, but the parameters and the data cutoff lines were so stringent and so rigid that they left a lot of people out in the fray, and those people ended up finding themselves teaching. And not a lot of those people that were teaching wanted to teach, because that was not the natural circumference and the natural place of comfort. And then some people wanted to teach and they taught, So how to go about intelligence, for me, I look at those people, and I really want to follow this point, because it's so important for people to understand that let us not get people or individuals to go into career paths that are not naturally areas that they're passionate about. Let us find out what really drives them. And I mean, there are people that like to just sit in the lab the whole day, be physicists, chemists, biologists. And then there are people, Botswana could have many neurophysicists who are now lost in some village somewhere, teaching physics without any type of facilities, reporting to some dimwits, as is often the case, and this I'll say without apology, like really try to figure that way out in life. No, could you imagine all of the comes over tell a put them delaying here, how I appear, and these individuals then become misfits. And in my observation, and this is my lived observation, but it's not empirically founded, then they become somewhat...
I love your English.
Well,
sorry
I'm not trying to... is how I articulate myself.
It's crazy how I forgot you are this person.
Yeah, but it's not that natural circumference.
Of course.
I mean, I've got people that report to me that I'm sure they look at me like, yeah, matey, but what limits how I'm here. But it's not even about how I hit some. It's like, but matey, how to be. You then have to understand the next level and muscle of intelligence, to go back to your initial question, is to listening. Like really understanding and seeing and responding to and redesigning. I think we need to redesign our education system even more, where we're able to distinctly understand the people that are passionate about the sciences STEM from a place of practicing in STEM and from a place of teaching in STEM, and come up with ways and means where we can then see beyond STEM, even the social sciences, which, the political sciences within a Venn diagram, a subset of that. How do we then, when at TK, allow for people to just grow and become better living beings of themselves? But intelligence for me is not just what you can understand from a theoretical perspective and what you can assimilate and internalize and regurgitate back to people conceptually and academically. Is what you also apply. Right. And I think the only time when people apply anything is when they're passionate about it. So now for me, intelligence is a lived experience. So the people that I consider to be intelligent are people that have been able to impact lives. And some of them are necessarily not the most academically decorated people. And I'm saying this because...
It's usually that, right?
Yeah, but...
you say you included.
And I don't want it to...
I see what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do.
No, I'm actually trying to build an argument where it doesn't look like I'm trying to justify my lack of academic education that is extensive. Because, I think a lot of people really do think I have extensive academic education. And I really don't. A lot of what I know has been self-taught. And a lot of it, more so, has been taught by other people. In fact, I think 90% of what I know has been taught by other people. And at least 10% has been taught by myself through what other people have introduced me to. So, my friend, intelligence.
You would then definitely pass for an intelligent person.
I'm not sure. That it comes to the definition of success.
Yeah.
Because who says I'm successful? Just because I have a corporate job?
Also, what is success?
What is success? Yeah, exactly that. Because you could actually look at me. On one level, given the year that I've just had, I'm a bit of a corporate slave. And it's not always, I am a bit of a corporate slave. I can say it here. I am a bit of a corporate slave, and it's not always appreciated. Was it Jesse Williams? At the BET Awards, and he talks about all these different elements that Black people in the U.S. have to go through. And I can tell you, as a woman in this environment, or just as a Botswana, because we Botswana, from Botswana, I always look at Botswana like it's a microcosm. It's a small world within a world. It's representative of how the world is. I don't think certain things are a unique to Botswana. Go to how lebella gore batho ba re he Botswana re a tswana. In Australia they call it the tall poppy syndrome.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go rontsha thonyana. Aba go bontsha gore ungwana stress.
Yeah. Sit down. Sit at the back.
Can you just relax yourself? Can you just relax yourself? You know, and yeah, man. And when you're like Matlhogonolo Mponang, you know, and I think there are many Matlhogonolo Mponangs that might not have the level of this platform. I was gonna say my initial Freudian thought was gonna say the level of prominence, and I was like, but what's prominence? You know, is it prominence or notoriety? You know, because it's a prominence or notoriety. You know, because you could be notorious and you think you're prominent, because prominence almost implies that you're important, but notoriety is just you're notorious. You just It's rather sad because like Jesse Williams said. You know, we some people like me, you know, we work around the clock, and because we don't complain, and we're always going to, like, I work in a mining environment where I'm between joining DCC, and I'm always in the mines listening to, working all hours, getting into, the plants at like, sometimes it's like you get it at 9, then 11, then 1 a.m. And people don't see that, and because you make it so easy to look at, and because you don't complain about it, just because, he said, just because it's magic, it does not mean that it's not real. Yeah.
I had a conversation with someone in the corporate world who possibly you and I would regard as prominent, successful by every measure of corporate success we can put on the floor. And then I asked, hey, what is the actual joy of this thing that you do? Waking up every day, corporate slave, And she said to me, TKay, I'm actually finding it very hard to answer your question because I don't see the joy in it. I'm actually very lonely. And I'm like, lonely, what do you mean? Do you not have a partner? Obviously, I was just trying to bring the juice into this whole conversation, right? Just trying to also get a few. Don't you have a partner? What do you mean you're lonely? She's like, no, I do have a partner. It's great. But all my hours are in this office on this chair. They simply have to understand that I cannot go to this dinner tonight because I just got a call from the boss saying that I need to do 1, 2, 3. And if tomorrow we're trying to do a picnic, it's not going to work because I'm on standby for this 1, 2, 3 trip to this place outside the country. And this person, I was talking to her after she had just gotten back from London for a business trip, right? So that's the loneliness part of what she's doing, right? But she's a very, very big person. And so, to your point...
Depending on how big is.
Right. I mean, right. We'll try to be objective about it. You know
Elon Musk big, Duma Boko big.
Wow.
Yeah. or TKay big.
I am big.
Be rest assured, in your own right, you are big.
So, look, you have a family. You are married. You have a beautiful partner. He's a good friend of mine. He's a good big brother of mine. Right? Do you ever think or suffer from any of what this lady was talking about? Can you relate on any level at all?
On all levels.
On all levels?
On all levels.
No way.
I can tell you, on all levels.
There's no loneliness in your life.
It doesn't look like it. Like I said, just because it looks like magic, it doesn't mean it's not real. Just because I make it look easy doesn't mean I don't bleed. And sometimes the most unfortunate thing is that we bleed onto the people that love us the most,
Oh.
Yeah, and you end up finding yourself bleeding on people that love you the most. And not TKay, I think I've earned the right to tell the truth of this journey.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me tell you, people should do what they love. I mean, I don't think people, and when I say people, I mean the populace at large, young people particularly, that will watch this and listen to this. Don't go into corporate with rosy colored, glasses. Corporate is tough. It's not for the faint-hearted. I mean, if you can imagine, my friend, I mean, you're punished for being a person of excellence, but you're also punished for just being a person who's just a human being. Like, like how there are times where we'll be with friends and we're having a good time. That's why this whole thing, like, remember I told you a long time ago, I can't be doing this thing of drinking on Sundays, because, hey, we'll go out, but I will pause. Sunday, all right? I could have seen a private time, truth be told, and then you get up the next day, it's a Monday, and you go to work. But when unbeknownst to you, you're still reeking of that stuff. And then people just want to take that. The funny thing about life, people will always look at the things that they can use about you that happen as exceptions, but they make them the normality of your existence,
thing. Yes.
And it becomes a huge part of your narrative. I just want to get there, like I mean, that is the first, because you feel personally annihilated. You know what I mean? You feel personally like, okay, what are these people trying to insinuate? Do they think I really did get up in the morning and imbibe? And you're like, no, but factually, that lived experience is that you were reeking of alcohol and you did drink until 4 a.m. on a Sunday. So there has to be a level where you also have to hold yourself accountable. I've learned, where you then say, I've had to learn, at times where, Lord, nah. but I can't go into the office because yesterday we're imbibing, and if I'm going into the office, then I can't imbibe. So usually now I just don't imbibe, and then I go into the office because. Mina, I don't have the capacity of ending it at 12. If I'm having a good time, I'm having a good time. But I'm going to sleep.
Don't I know about it?
I'm going to sleep for 2 hours. And the next morning at 4 a.m, get out. And I'm unapologetic about this because I get my work done.
Yeah.
And I don't wake up and hit a GNT. But I mean, I slept at 4. I hit it hard. And the next day I wake up, brush my teeth, get to the office. What's going on?
I don't even know how you do that.
I think I'm a bit of an alien, honestly.
Yeah, we need to find out.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit of an alien. Yeah, but that's why there's some people that think some of us are on narcotics. But anyway, that's an aside. But the point that I'm trying to make, though, is you also have to be conscious of the fact that when you go into certain spaces, it's not just about managing perceptions from how people are receiving you, but it's also how you're showing up. Because to be fair to the business, if you just sleep at 4 and you come into the office at whatever time, at 8, or, I usually come in at 9, to be honest, because I start working from 4 a.m. So let's say maybe, in my instance, maybe I drink until about 12, or then, and then ka 4, so I get and then I go into the office, go at 9, and I started working at 4. You cannot then hold other people responsible to actually then be defensive
I get that.
about how they're receiving and experiencing you as a leader, particularly. Or as a person who's being given responsibility, because when you get into some of these positions, you're really there to account not just for yourself, but to account for your behavior even at a personal level. So it means that some of us have had to, how has it been, man? It's lonely because the things that I could get away with in the past,
you can't anymore. So
I can't. But you know what? Nor do I want to, TK, because some of these bad behaviors, and not to say on occasion I can't, it's festive right now and I'm going to have a good time.
Of course.
When I'm not working. I'm working until, I think, Tuesday, the 24th.
Yeah.
But because I have a lot of work, and then in between, I'm also going to be doing a bit of work. And then I'm going to start off early in the year. It is what I signed up for. But for me, it's not a job. It's not a job. I don't look at what I do as a job. And I say all the time, from a corporate perspective, I'm like a corporate slave. But and when I say corporate slave, I mean I'm slaving away, constantly leaving my family. I spent a lot of time joining, a lot of time because of joining underground and everything that's happening, because joining is the new frontier.
Yeah. I started feeling like, where is she? You know what I mean?
Yeah, never around.
Especially the last part of this year, which is what I want to get into it now.
No, but the funny thing about it, talking about how lonely it is, then you're doing all this work, and then there are people that throw insinuations. And the thing
like
about
what?
it, insinuations are like what but anyway, but the thing about it is, listen, I have this moniker that I developed where I looked at myself in a particular way, and I said, the word visionary is really not something that is ostentatious. It's like you're visioning a world that needs to appear in a particular way that you want to leave for your kids. And at some point I said, hashtag see you at the top, hashtag, the bottom is too crowded. And I think at some point people just thought I was being arrogant, but it really is what it is. Because, if there is more of us oscillating, and the thing about it, going back to your point of loneliness, is the fact that you oscillate these worlds and they appear. You don't want to also discourage people from
I was about to say that.
from being that ambitious. You know what I mean? You don't also want to make it seem like it's a bad experience. It's not a bad experience. But understand there's a price to pay. To what extent are you willing to pay the price? And to what extent are you willing to understand that you will be misunderstood? And a huge part of it, I always say, if you're not ready for your name to be dredged through the mud, if you're not ready for people to be ungrateful of your process, if you're not ready for all those things, you're not ready for this, which is called success. But there's also the other part that's very heartwarming and fulfilling, where you really see the impact and you see the translation and application going to intelligence of what you've learned in real practical terms. And you're able to trace when I got here, but when at this point, at some point, for me, what gives me the greatest joy is to see the practical application of my ideas and organizations. And that, to me, is success.
I love that.
And that, to me, is intelligence. Now, you ask me whether I think the president is intelligent.
I love how you tying this up. How you tying this up? It's beautiful.
I'm a photographic man.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
So for me, I am still. I know conceptually he's quite the man, and I know he can articulate certain ideas. I want to see the translation of it in our lives, not in the lives of people like me necessarily. That would be nice, but in the lives of your ordinary citizen who's on the ground.
So while I'm on the president, not I am, while we are on the president, right?
No, you're on the president. I'm just answering. I don't want to be seen to be talking about the president. I'm just answering your questions regarding.
Well, I'm on the president. So recently, I'm just sitting in my house. I'm going through social media. Suddenly, there's a frenzy. We're being advised to, hobeja. Hata homonate. And I'm like, yo, man. Hey, the economy is bad. What? Mr. President, sir, with all due respect, it's very hard for us. But I understand where I was coming from.
What does have to do with the economy?
With the what?
With the economy. I don't get a chappies. You got to check a chocolate there, guy.
Have you seen the breed of the young ladies that we have nowadays that we call our people? Chappies!
No, you need to like a chappies.
Matty, when you
go to chappies,
doesn't work.
Oh.
You're looking at some really expensive hair.
Yeah.
A trip somewhere very expensive. Could be in the country. Hey. You are Matty, right?
Go ahead. Let me not make it about myself.
It's the type of people that we're dealing with, and I'm trying to give you a context of. But when we hear certain things like that, right? I didn't have a problem with it. Most of the guys that I know had a problem with it, right? Because I believe innately as a man, you're born with the desire to provide for our female counterparts, co-leads and partners. But there's another statement that he then made that I need you to weigh in on. Right? So my Setswana is going to fail me a little bit here.
I'll help you.
But he may have said something along the lines of, no one belongs to anyone in the context of a marriage or a relationship, romantic relationship. And the rest of the world went kaboom. Did you understand what he was trying to say? Can you talk about that?
I think people took what he said, and oftentimes people take what Duma Boko says. It's almost like clickbait. You know clickbait? Somebody explained it to me, a friend that is actually somebody that you also know.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it. I think it was taken outside of context. I think, in fact, let me attempt to articulate what I think Reboko was trying to say.
Yeah.
He was talking about within the context of whether o monna kana o mosadi kana o moita kana o monna kana o mosadi but also go tlhaloganya gore even if you have to understand kuti you loved this person,
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Kuti you loved this person, so you loved this person, you met this person, you believed at a certain point in time that this was your person. But understand, Hore, that is not something that is sedentary. It's a thing that is forever evolving. There's a point at which you're going to feel one way and they're going to feel one way. But just because there's a difference in thinking, you are allowed to part ways, but it doesn't give you the right to feel that you own the person. That is what I understood him to be saying. I don't know, I could be wrong.
Right.
And I understood him to be saying, there is no one person or there's no singular person who owns a human being. You could have met a person, you fell in love with each other, and you decided to get married, and you put across these vows in front of God and man. And let's not forget that marriage is a human construct. By the way, that's why people get married and they get divorced. I'm just saying, as an aside, as a diatribe.
Well, don't do that to me.
No, that's a different conversation. Just hold it somewhere in your mind.
That's why I'm saying don't do that.
But I'm interpreting what I thought he was saying.
Okay, let's go.
And he's then saying, ga gona motho po e leng gore o na motho mo e ke ngwana wa motho mo ke ngwana o e leng gore ke wena ngwana wa motho mo. You are raised by two different families. You get together, you get married. You get together kana la ratana.
Yeah.
But at a certain point in time, when there's a difference in opinion, one should go this way, one should go this way. Aba are, maybe ha re ntse re le ho abana. Ke kopa gore borre le ikgakologele gore le betše le tlhokomeleng basadi within the context of ha gongwe you will be sitting there, and this is where it gets awry. And I hesitate to really try and interpret the Robecha comment. And the reason why I say this is because I then got lost in translation as to how he was mentioning the Robecha part within the context of the larger GBV argument. But I think in my mind, my understanding is that he was saying, just because obechedise ngwana batho, nako no mo rata, obo mo rekela koloi, like you bought her a car, you bought her a house, you did all these things for her. Those things do not presuppose the notion that you own the person. You love the person, and to express the love for this person, you then gave this person all these things. But those things do not give you the right to assume that ownership and that you can take away life within the context of GBV, where he started the conversation.
You're definitely right.
So that is my understanding
I
of what
would
he's
incline
saying.
myself to your interpretation, because most of the cases that I've heard, the stories that I've heard, it's usually a person who, take for example, a guy sends a partner to school, right? Sponsors school for 5 years, is responsible for getting her the first job. Good, he's responsible for who she has become.
And assumes that implies permanence.
You know what I mean? And so whenever there is a difference in opinion...
And fairly so, by the way, from an interpretation perspective.
Yeah.
But I think the president was basically saying, within human rights within the circumference of human rights, within the context of human rights. I mean, if that person decides to go to school, you've put them through school.
Yes.
You know, like I always get a reminder of my dad, who was in the mine raising us as an operator, putting my mother through school, who's right now quite educated,
right,
and academically, that is, and in other ways. And had my dad then turned around and said, if my mom had decided at some point that, you know what, I want to part ways with you for whatever reason, whether she had met somebody else or whether, for whatever reason, and I understood him to be basically saying, just because you invested that much in her and you loved her that much and you thought it was going to be forever, these are not diamonds. I mean, as we can see, maybe diamonds are not even forever. But I mean, but I do think diamonds are forever. But in this instance, within this particular context, I think that's what he was trying to say.
I love that. And I think I really agree with that. So then the outside part of that is something that I've heard that I need you to also weigh in on, still on the same issue, is that nobody ever does anything which is some investment and doesn't expect or should not expect some form of return on that investment. So whether it's love, right? I'm a partner. I'm going to do certain things to you as a man, and you're my partner. And is it such a wrong thing to expect some reciprocity, which would then be sort of like an investment that's returned on what I have done? Such that if there's no reciprocity, it's not such a fair thing for me to have done all these things. So let's do a devil's advocate, right?
Well, you can do the devil's advocate and asking. I'm not going to do a devil's advocate and answering. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think.
Let me play that devil's advocate,
play
right?
That devil's
so
advocate.
The devil's advocate is, look, I'm a man. I've blood, sweat, and tears. I've labored. I have toiled in the fields for you, right? It's definitely an investment, right? Regardless of the environment it's coming out of. Because I feel a lot of people, me included, feel love and the things that we do in that regime should not be some investment. But I think everything is an investment. I'm giving you this love. I'm buying you these things, blah, blah, blah. Surely I should expect some reciprocity, which is a return on what I have done to you. So what would you say to that devil's advocate?
Okay.
Such that if it fails to be reciprocated, I can't be told to shut up or to not act in.
And I don't think.
Yeah.
You see, the thing is, I don't think sometimes people contextualize what the things he says within the context within which he's saying it. I think the statement he was making, it is a very evolved statement that it can appeal. You know, like how there's the id. You know, and I've often said this in the podcast that we've had, and I often refer to it. There is like a physical Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you're talking about food, shelter, basic things. You know what I mean? You're not talking about a Persian carpet. You're not talking about any of those things. You're not even trying to get to work. You're just trying to get up and just have food and have water. You know, like your natural. Like when you look at the Sustainable Development Goals that are now. Which were the Millennium, the MDGs that are now the SDGs. I think a lot of people interpret them through the lens and prism of an SDG perspective at the IT level.
Okay.
But he's now taking the conversation to where then you get to the ego level, where it's somewhat where it's like the mental level. And I talk about this all the time when I present to particularly HR practitioners, that you have to understand when you deal with human beings, you're going to deal with human beings. That that just coming to you is like, yo, Matlhogonolo, I need basic. It's a mess.
Right.
But you have
Jeff,
to solution.
Can I have some more water there? Please help me.
Water.
Get some.
Water. But
you could ask Mr. P to help me with another glass.
But within that context, it's really like the person has a legitimate claim towards their safety. And when, as an HR practitioner, you have to think about how you can solution for them. And then there's a person who's thinking about, I'm not going to school. How am I developing myself? Or what was I thinking? They're a bit on the mental side. And then there's that elevated super ego side where the person is thinking about how they can transition and transact with the world. And they're very transcendental in their thinking, and it's super evolved. And so I think as a precedent, where I would have a bit of a cautionary tale towards President Boko is to say, his messaging and the people that write his speeches should actually culture his messaging towards different contexts, and towards different people. And it should be explained within the context of its fullness as a narrative.
For proper understanding.
And this is not to assume that people are not intelligent or people are stupid. That's not even what I'm trying to imply. I'm just saying oftentimes his messaging gets lost in translation because
Thank you so much.
In his mind it's very clear to him what he's trying to articulate. And he does it. If you follow his throughput, he does it in such a good way. But the thing is, the most inflammatory statements that he makes are the ones that are then taken out of context. I think he's taken out of context a lot.
Most of the time.
I think he's taken out of context. And this is not to say, and I think at a certain point in time, they should decide to say to the president, Mr. President, didimala. Because I don't think he's being messaged within the context of what it is he's trying to say. And when I say this, first of all, it's a village that's known notoriously. We're asking ourselves, are you playing to the populace? And I don't read him to be that kind of person. But the intellectual that he is, I really don't think people are reading it from the perspective that he meant it. I'm not even trying to be kind to him. As to whether that was the right environment, I don't know. But sometimes I think, TK, what I think sometimes as we should be conscious of the times that people are in. A friend of mine recently was somewhere and she was surprised at the fact that some people that work in her organization were turning on her. I'm like, yeah, but...
Turning on her,
from a negative perspective. And I'm like, yeah, but when I get on our social media profiles, they look at what we're doing. There's an environment of lack. It's an environment of lack where I can't even get up and buy toothpaste. And GPV is both ways. And like Khosi Seboko said, rightly so.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Khosi Seboko. That's why the national anthem, says, I don't think this a thing called life is gender-based. That's why there's gender-based violence, because it is delineated in those derivatives. And my criticism would also be where you delineated in the manner that he did. Go to my criticism, and that is my criticism strictly from a Eurocentric perspective. From an Afrocentric perspective, I must say, he made a lot of sense. Because you know what? Even I would be taken care of.
Is that right?
It doesn't matter how much money I earn. It doesn't matter. And as I put my...
So what is taking care of Matty actually look like?
I'm just doing something. You know what I mean?
It's definitely not a chappies.
No, I don't mind the chappies. Okay. You'll be surprised. Because you know what? It goes beyond... For me, I don't think... you know what? I don't think people that are truly invested in relationships are thinking about how much things cost. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh.
Truly wealthy people don't talk about how much things cost.
Ooh.
Like when people ask me something like, how much does this cost? I don't know how much things cost. You either can afford it or you can't. That's why certain shops, when you walk into them, there's no price tag. you walk into the shop knowing you can afford. I could assume that you looked up whatever it is you want to buy and you're ready to buy it. You know what I mean?
I want to live that life. That is.
Yeah, there are people that do.
That is.
And you and I have to work hard, my friend.
To get there.
To get there, to get there.
So yeah. What does
No. I just think it's about happiness. I think when you're with the person you're happy with, as long as you're with that person.
Is it flowers? Is it a date?
Dude, I don't even think it's a definition of flowers or a date. I think it's just about caring. Sometimes it's about somebody answering your phone call. There are people that are in relationships where they're in love. I mean, imagine the pain of waking up with a person who spent the whole night making love to you, and the next day they're not taking your calls. And then they ghost you. I mean, that's a form.
They have a word for it. 2 words, 1 night, 3 words, 1 night stand.
Yeah, but that in itself is a form of abuse. You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of people go through that. And then you have somebody who, at the bare minimum, they show up and the person opens doors for you. The person will help you through life with things. The person buys your first teaspoon. I mean, look at the recent space of marriages where it was like, was it Rebome? Then it was Rasalakai. Then it was Remahosi.
Yes.
Then Redikoloti. The one thing that is characteristic, at least for me, and I actually know Redikoloti's wife. I consider her to be a sister, but I don't know the other ladies that are married to these 4 gentlemen that I just mentioned.
Right.
What was characteristic of it was love. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it was beautiful. It was beautiful to behold. It was beautiful to see. You look at it and you're like, yeah, let's hope within the context of a real marriage, this can sustain itself. But why would it not? You know what I mean?
Why would it not?
Why would it not? Because and you only say, let's hope within the context of a real marriage.
Right.
It will sustain itself simply because of some of the comments. But number one, my word is like, why would they not be happy? They're clearly happy. I think it's a beautiful thing to witness. Love is a beautiful thing to witness all these different individuals. And I think they met most likely at different points in their journeys where they weren't necessarily here. I look at relationships, constantly. I look at relationships that I've had. I look at people that I've known, even friends outside of romance. And I'm like, it's so amazing that we share so much. You know what I mean? Listen, it's not about the price tag. It's just about the feeling and the intensity of it. The money always comes.
Money always comes.
The money always comes at a later point in time. If you work at it, build a life, build a home.
Just the 2 of you, yeah.
Yeah, and then and take it forward. And as is unfortunate sometimes in life, where you are the starter wife, and then the person, once they reach a certain level of acuity and success economically, they then leave you and they go for other things that are supposedly better.
Yeah.
But even then, that has its own form of happiness.
Yeah.
Because really the starter wives, so to speak, but at the end of the day, I think it needs to be understood that people need to part ways peaceably.
Yeah.
And in a way that speaks to dignity.
Right.
And in a way that is respectful, because ultimately the way that you start is the way that you need to finish.
For sure. So you were at the wedding. They're calling it the wedding of the century. Oh my goodness.
My pillow is actually like somebody that I consider to be a sister of mine.
Yeah.
Her older sister Malebo is actually my functional supervisor. She's the first Motswana to ever become at the level executive vice president, like part to the CEO of Debswana.
That's crazy.
Motswana. So I mean, it's quite an accomplishment. I don't think people quite understand what she does for a living.
Yeah.
I mean, she's huge. So I report into her functionally, and I also report into Remutsumi, who's my CEO. But I mean, we have a personal relationship outside of that.
Right.
And Len and my people have a personal relationship. So I was there. It was beautiful to reconnect with the whole family. I was there in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I had to depart for other things, and I didn't make it to the second leg. I mean, but everything that I've seen thus far has been beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah.
It's been beautiful. I think all 4 weddings that I've mentioned deserve to be given that moniker of being, Yeah, the weddings of the year or the century,
yeah.
within the context of what it is that we're seeing. I mean, they were all beautiful weddings. I love the way that Ramahusu was dancing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, who dance like that? Yeah. Right?
I don't know how many times I watched that one clip, right, of him just. I'm like this.
But you know who I also think is kind of coming out to me kind of cool?
Who's that?
Debswana.
Yeah.
Dude is like, I was like, did he get a social media manager?
Does
like,
Slumber have social media manager?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, is this him? I mean, he's so fun. I mean, and what are the odds? I mean, I think had he been like that during those BDP
During the times,
years, yeah. The BDP might have
He's so much fun. He's so much relatable. The one
and so much more easy. Yeah.
The
so
one
much
post that
more
I saw was when he was talking about the St. Daniel gin.
Yes.
Daniel.
It's like and then and I thought it was so funny how Dan like posted it as well.
Yeah.
The picture, just things like that. And I don't know. I haven't seen content from Rebo me.
Yeah.
Like I know he was in Khansi. You know what? All I'm trying to say is, hey, let's have fun. Hey, let's be positive. I think Botswana is such an amazingly beautiful country, but I think we tend to focus on the toxicity a lot more.
And just ignore or be naive to the goodness and the positive stuff that's going on. Speaking of, right? Congratulations. CPO.
Oh, yeah.
Boo, boo, boo. I wish you had a glass of something.
Changing nomenclature. Yeah.
What happened there?
They gave me more work and the same amount of money. They gave me, and I'm not.
We're just changing the nomenclature.
Gave me more work and no,
So, ladies and gentlemen, my partner on this amazing podcast is the Chief People Officer or People's
People Officer.
Chief People Officer over at Debswana. And when I saw the post, I was telling you before we started recording, it was just one lady and a lot of gentlemen. And I thought, oh my goodness, man, how did that feel? Congratulations, I'm so happy for you.
It felt like I'd failed or something.
What do you mean?
Well, what I felt like when I got there were I think 4 other ladies that were part of Quebec School.
Right.
I mean, of course, I understand the dynamics and why it had to be done from a place that is business, from a place of, how it had to be done from a place of having the business get smaller. I don't know. I don't know, because I can't really talk about it because, I also, the project fell under my armpit, so I don't want to seem like I'm defending anything.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I just think it's always very interesting when you notice that within the technical spheres, it's men, and within the support spheres, support being non-technical spheres,
yes.
it's women.
It's women, okay.
And I think that's what happened. I don't think I happen to be the only woman there because there's something exceptional about me as a woman or even as a person.
Wow.
I don't think that is the case because there are many exceptional people at Debswana that work as hard as I do.
But you are exceptional.
Yeah, I am exceptional in my own right. Yeah. But I don't think I'm more exceptional than the next person. I don't necessarily think I'm more deserving to be there.
So what is really wrong with that thinking, though? What is really wrong with actually thinking that you might be more exceptional than the other person? It's almost like that thing that you and I share all the time.
I just don't need that kind of validation, though, TK.
No, but for yourself. You remember what we said the other time? Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate.
Yeah.
Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. You actually ask yourself, who am I to be this bright more than the other person? But the actual question is, who are you not to be more exceptional than the other person?
Yeah, that Marianne Williamson quote, I love it. I love it. Often attributed to Nelson Mandela, as I've said before. Yeah. But the thing about it, though, TK, is that I don't, for a minute, doubt my own sense of hard work and the journey that I've had to walk and the plowing and the concessions that I've had to make. Concessions.
Yeah.
I am merely speaking to the fact that I think from an optics perspective,
of course,
it leaves a lot to be desired. And I'm not putting it at anyone's feet but my own, because I am the named CPO, so it's my responsibility to ensure that at least by the time I leave Debswana, there are a lot more women within that group exco team than my solitary self. But you can also understand that coming from the sets of my genital mentality. Maybe that's what I should call it, genital mentality. Because, I was born with specific genitalia that is different from anywhere else to the extent that I understand it. And the mentality that comes with it, the things that I go through. My reality is like my husband, I just can't wake up in the morning and just be on some someone at clinic, queen work, baby girl, make a plan, and the society, the network, and the societal framework is such where that narrative will be more understood than my narrative.
For sure.
If I go to my mom and I complain about this fact that, this man is not helping me, manage the kids. She is, to her, it's just like, but you're supposed to do that. Because, my mom is in that particular demographic. The world is evolving. And so, and luckily enough, my husband is somebody who understands that we need to put in half. But not everybody has that reality. And within the context of the fact that when you're a woman in corporate and you say something that is true, and mind you, I said in corporate, I didn't say in Debswana. So it could be, Debswana is a subset of that statement. I know. I always laugh and say I don't want to be sued. But, you say something that is factually correct and you're not listened to, and sometimes because you're a woman, it's considered to be emotive, or because you say it with as much passion and vigor as I often articulate myself, then it's somewhat minimized. And then the next second, 5 minutes later, a bloke says it. And it's like, oh, mate, I hear you. You're like, nah. But I'm the kind of woman, I'll be like, I just said that. I said it
a few minutes ago.
I said it. Why are you not acknowledging? You know what I mean? I am that person. So, of course it can come across like you're being volatile. And listen, I don't think... I'm an easy walk in the park on any given Sunday, and so, but I don't necessarily think I want culture that come after me to have to fight so much for that space. I think they should also be assured of a level of calmness and measure and balance where they don't have to show up as I have had to show up, just to be able to occupy the space in the same time. I've seen with intentful denigration, women in these powerful positions being put in that place, and not only by men, but by other women as well. I've seen where sometimes some women have decided that they're going to be Switzerland and they're going to be neutral. I'm very distrusting and mistrusting of people that want to sit on the fence, pick a side, I am acutely aware of the fact that there's a certain level of pain that comes with telling the truth. But I think it depends how you tell the truth. And you also have to be balanced, because not all men are bad people in the same way that not all white people are bad people. I think bad people, there are bad people and there are good people in the world.
For sure. No matter what color.
Yeah, no matter what color, no matter what gender. But I can certainly tell you there's a certain level of loneliness. And to a lot of people, I don't know what the picture personified to a lot of people. I didn't really spend too much time looking at it.
You did get a lot of congratulations messages. I saw your LinkedIn as well. So clearly the perception out there.
And I would want a lot more women. The point is, I would want a lot more women.
Speaking of that, speaking of more women, also, how many have we reached an hour 30 yet? We're cruising, guys. Yeah. We're having
117, 118.
We're good. Because there's so much more to talk about. Speaking of women, I know you have had colleagues in the corporate world, in the higher ups, that have been let go. No,
like you mean within the Debswana context?
No. Outside. Corporate, corporate.
Certainly. I've been one of them.
What's that?
I've been one of them. I've been fired from jobs for at least twice in my life.
In your life, yeah, of course. Yeah. So it's a natural course of life, really. But what I'm trying to get at is how several of some of your friends have been let off.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing headlines at some point where some people felt that there was an attack on women because it seemed, according to these headlines, that it was just targeted positions that were headed by women, that these women were being let go. And then I started really researching and I found out, nah, it's not really true. There are places where some men have been let go. I don't even want to mention the corporates or the corporate organizations where some men were leading it and they were let go. You and I have spoken about this as well. But I want to speak about the women that have been let go.
I don't want to. Okay, first of all, so that I'm not an apologist, right?
Of course.
Because the feminists are gonna freaking wanna kill me, freaking wanna bury me for all my sins.
They'll come for you.
I don't have enough sins. Listen, there is definitely a thread of misogyny within our society.
Is there?
Yeah, there definitely is. I mean, but you need to have been born with my genitalia to understand this. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I forgive you, my friend. There definitely is a thread of misogyny that's very unspoken. In the same way that, when you work in multinationals and you work in different environments, you will feel sometimes you are a speck of black peppercorn in a sea of salt. You know what I mean?
Whoa. Say that one more time.
A speck of black peppercorn
Yes.
in a sea of white salt. That also happens, so you will feel the same way. I mean, you're a minority.
Also, she just says these things and tries to just move right along. Like you just bombed us with
But it's
a
true.
black what is the salt?
Yeah, a speck of black peppercorn in a sea of white salt. You do feel
I'll
like
get
that.
that, yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean, like I said, that you being a minority excuse you from not working or from you rising up to the challenge. And it doesn't mean that all people that happen to be in that sea of salt are the same, right? It's the same thing as in the argument within gender.
Yeah.
I also don't believe in affirmative action to the extent that I want to be hired because I'm a woman. I want to be hired because I know what I'm doing.
Competence.
I don't want to be hired because I possess a certain, set of genitalia, basically. Genitalia that is recognizable. Because the other thing with that argument is also that in a world where there are so many different polarities and gender identifications, the last time I checked, I think there were 13, if not 14. I mean, how do you, just because a person is born with a particular gender, physically, does not mean that the person identifies as such. There are issues around identification. I mean, when you look at an inclusion, diversity, equity, and belonging perspective, it becomes even more mired.
I need another episode for just that part.
Exactly.
Next year,
Yeah. So to go back to people that have been subjugated, I think I want to say this on this podcast. I think Botswana is an environment that really does not respond well to exceedingly brilliant and effective people. I think in this country, a lot of the times, the people that can be effective, that are brilliant in terms of articulation, are not given enough coaching, are not given enough mentoring, to where the messaging
I like where this is going.
Yeah, it gets lost in translation, to where then it gets lost on the larger populace. Again, you also have to understand that when you grow in the society as a professional, like when I came in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I think I've spoken about this. I mean, irritating as hell, insufferable as hell when I was younger. But because I was young, it was kind of cute. But as you get older, it
gets played out?
Yeah, I know, it ceases to be cute, right? So then you get punished for it, but you need to outgrow it. I think it's a conversation between the people that are actually people of excellence and the environment, really allowing people to understand that Botswana is an environment of so many different conversations and so many different demographics.
Yeah.
So you could be having a very senior position, but you will come there because the powerful people are the people doing the work. if you trample on them, if you don't respect them, if you do whatever, they will find ways and means to say the most nefarious things about you, whether founded or unfounded, right?
So it really gives the definition power to the people. A great.
Do not think you're going to walk into a position of seniority in this country and not build bridges with the common man. Don't. That's your first, and I'm not trying to, and this is why I'm saying to you, like, the country that is Botswana is very interesting to me because it's a real representation of this kotla system. What are the Swedes, I think, have taken, is it the Swedes or the Finns? Yeah. They've taken it and really articulated, and they've taken our indigenous, intellect and indigenous education and made it their own because, I cannot, for instance, Jeff Ben has been,
what's up, Jeff?
With me,
Yeah.
He's been producing content with me forever, and he's here with the one with the beautiful name,
Shalom.
And you cannot begin to think that this podcast is about the people.
That'll be $500 per mention, by the way.
For all that free advertising, but you can't begin to understand and think that the podcast is because of you and I.
No.
We're just sitting here blabbing and sharing opinions. But when it comes to those people as well, some of those people have been people that have literally gotten into spaces where they've also made other people's lives a living hell. And then some of those people are people that were just sheer brilliant Botswana, that were just misunderstood. But you have to be able to, and listen to this, you have to be able to have this neck of dining with the kings and sitting with the paupers. You have to be able to relate with people, and you have to be able to sometimes dine with the paupers and sit with the kings.
So I want to understand this.
And relate with everybody across demographics.
So I want to understand you correctly, because I don't want to get out of this podcast thinking that I understood you, but I possibly didn't. What may have happened to some of them was that they may have not been able to sit with the kings and dine with the populace.
Or sometimes dine with the kings
Yes.
and sit with the populace, or the
They may have failed to do so.
And not even the populace, but the paupers. Yeah, because the populace is like your middle ground. It's assumed,
I know.
But you see, the thing is, you have to be relatable at every level within the society. And you have to be solution driven, and you have to be, I marvel when I'm in Joanning. I go to this bar called Sticks, as is common course. Everybody that knows me knows that I drink Gordon's. Very proud of the fact that I drink Gordon's.
Well, you have one disciple here, so thank you very much.
Yes. I've literally convinced you that this is, and it's an amazing drink. Yeah. But you see, the thing, and I drink other things outside of Gordon's, but this is my primary drink.
Right.
But for me, it's like, I think we attach so many superficial elements to things that don't matter. Is it about impact? Does it matter? Those three gateways. First of all, is it true? Is a kind? Does it move the dial? Does it change anything? Right. Then if it doesn't, it deserves the grace of silence. Say.
So I get that, and whether true or not that is, I think I wanted to find out the position of competence in that, right? Because every time there is that kind of subjugation, or people are being fired from these high positions, the first thing, obviously, that most people think, me included, is, maybe you didn't deliver. You know what I mean? Is that something that you have felt was, no?
I think it's two ways. I mean, there are people that have delivered, but they just delivered in a manner that was not good. And I can articulate this quite well, because I'm one of those people that oftentimes I sometimes say things that are true. And I've had to learn how I deliver my truth. Because, in the past, I thought I could just get away with just though because though I need to qualify it, I'm able to get away with a lot of things because people just think I'm crazy. So when people think you're crazy, you get away with a lot of things. But as I've gotten older, within a sense of self-respect for myself, because I'm not just, enabling myself to be able to be. Have efficacy within Botswana, but even outside of the greater world.
Yeah.
I've had to also, I've gone through a lot of coaching and mentoring as well. Like I said earlier on, I'm on the lower side of the autism spectrum. I go through a lot of counseling. I mean, I go through counseling like the way most people go to see the medical doctor for physical reasons, because that's just how my brain works. And when people say I am crazy, it smarts a bit because I guess on some level I am considered to be crazy. It's actually factually correct. Yeah. But I do think though that as I've gotten older, I've learned to be a lot more kinder to myself and to others. I mean, I'm very impatient with people that don't grasp things fast. So I manage my triggers. So I have a lot of people that are in between myself and some people that are a bit on the slow side. Slow or not, I'm not talking about a lack of intelligence. Slow as in, it's just that process. We have different, because I'm slow in other ways. I'm slow in, I'm not very good at social spaces. I'm not one of those people that you'll find, and I'll come into social space and I'll go out, like especially where there are a lot of people, like these weddings, funerals, etc., etc.
I've actually seen that firsthand.
Yeah. So I go in and when I am in a social space where there are a lot of people, I'm in a corner with a very close set of friends. But the point that I'm trying to make is I think there are people that have been very effective, but their channels and their communications of effectiveness or efficacy have not been well received just because of the way in which they delivered them. And then there are people that have been very good at how they've played the social engineered space, where they're very good at going to weddings, funerals, they're very good at being affable, they're very good at being understood within the context of whatever demographic within this particular society or any other, but they're very ineffective in terms of the level of impact that they're able to deliver. So within both categories, I've seen people being lost, within that fulcrum, and it's quite interesting to me to look at it, and then on the rare occasion that is gotten right, where a person is placed in the right position and they're able to have the right level of energy towards people and the right level of grace. I mean, look at somebody like Duma Boko has gone from being a BNP member to be an AP member. To coming into this current environment, being a Minister of Finance, and also being a VP. I mean, you even look at in Duma Boko. I mean, there are people that will die on the sword. You know what I mean? For Duma Boko, and there are people that can't stand him. But at the end of the day, I mean, the whole thing about leadership is that you can't
Yeah, for sure.
You're not going to be loved by everybody. You're not money. But at the end of the day, when all is said and done, they've got different levels of efficacy, and the difference is the people that make the decision are the larger populace. With these people that are in certain positions, they are making those decisions about those people's lives. And sometimes there are people that are very effective at what they do, and are able to do their jobs in this society, can I say?
Yeah.
And because they did not have the right political or social connections, honestly, because social capital is also a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Haven't you shown me that this year?
Yeah,
you have shown me
social capital.
How much social capital means.
Social capital is a thing. But you need to follow social capital with delivery, because people are not just going to back you up for them to back you up and say you can do the job and say this person is effective. And then you get there and you're not answering the phone in the morning, or you're sleeping in the morning, or you're not showing up to work.
It's terrible.
And you're not enlisted. So a lot of the people that I think are able to, it's always said when a person is actually a very hardworking person, but they just don't have the social capital. And a lot of it, you see people that speak slower, but they don't necessarily have because then there are people that speak English better than I do that are useless at what they do.
Yeah.
Can I say that as well?
Yeah, of course.
They have the charisma, they have the look, they smell the right fragrance, they come in, it's a lot of noise, but it's just brouhaha, and it's just an empty vessel that makes most noise. And that's always unfortunate. But those are exceptions, you know what I mean? Those are exceptions. But then I think within the context of Botswana, I think there's need for us to really invest in coaching, mentoring, to really have people understand that you know, re Batswana. So it's okay. We'll hear you, because how go China, that's what they're doing. Honestly, how go Spain, you know, a Frenchman will literally be butchering their way through English, or a Chinese man, or they'll have to, and they don't care because they're getting the message. Because it's not about the language, it's about what they're able to translate. Only in Botswana do we punish people for not speaking good English. And what is good English? Because in my experience as well, and this I'm saying empirically through all the years that I've worked, a lot of people that speak incredibly good English are not always the best producers of the best work. And I might be in that category, but I'm being facetious. Actually, I'm not.
You're not.
I'm not.
I was about to reprimand
yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
No. I shouldn't be that.
You and I, we don't speak negative.
No. We're not going to be that self-effacing, because we also have to set an example for young people that we're not going to, you know, make these things real when they're not real.
Yeah. So, gosh, so much that we have spoken about, right? And yet also so much to still talk about.
Yeah, which is why we should do this every week.
Yeah, right?
Just talk about things.
I'm thinking, I'm consulting my mind where I want to take this.
The year thus far.
Yeah, for sure. We lost ATI.
Yeah, that was guttural.
Yeah.
Gutturally painful.
You and I have never spoken on a podcast about the passing of ATI. Feelings, thoughts?
I loved ATI. You know what? I think words are wasted.
Yeah.
I think words are wasted. I think so much has been written, so much has been said. Nikelebele Simaloba when D'Angelo passed away, and
yes.
the different accounts, and the words that were coming in, outpouring of love, and also sometimes a little bit of regret as to how we could have showed up better. I mean, I'm one of those people that I think within his life, I could have been a bit more present than I was.
To ATI?
Yeah, I think I was.
Did you guys have a relationship?
Yeah, we knew each other. I mean, possibly it could have been better.
Right.
But it wasn't better because, I mean, he reached out to me on a few occasions and I was just too busy. Busy doing what? You know, busy doing what that I have, you know. So I think that's the most I'll say about it. And I think that's also, I mean, I feel the same way about my late sister. I feel the same way about other people that have passed away. I feel the same way about, like, a lot of the time people reach out to me and they want to spend time and they want to connect, and because I'm always assailed with work. Or when I'm not working, sometimes I just want to think about work or think about anything that is serious.
Right.
And I think as a society we failed him.
Yeah.
You know, myself included, principally. But also, I think what matters is what are we doing about it going forward.
Yeah.
I think what matters.
Solutions.
Yeah, solutions. What are we doing about it going forward? But to tell you the truth, I think, people say he was born in the wrong country. I don't think so. I think he was born in exactly the right country. We just need to come up with avenues of how do we then take our own indigenous knowledge, our own indigenous artistry and talent to the world in a manner that, I mean, what's so special about South Africa when they're able to take AKA and Trevor Noah to the world? I mean, I think that talent managers, I think the thing is there needs to be capitalization into the arts.
Yeah, for sure.
The same way that you capitalize into mines, as we diversify away from mining, let's put a lot more money where our mouths are when it comes to the arts. I think there's also an active need for the people that are policymakers to actually get down to the grassroots and understand the issues they're in. I see a lot of what I consider to be a form of maybe posturing, the appearance of perfection. I think when it's almost like I'm a woman who wears makeup. If you don't work on your skin, the makeup will not look good. No, honestly, I mean, if your skin is not cashmere,
it's not going to work.
The makeup is not. No, it's not going to do the. Why do they say the kiss? The mething.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I think it's important that as a society we start really we start introspecting from a leadership perspective, and I think it's important for Botswana. I think it's important for members of parliament, for cabinet to just kind of take a seat and to look inwards and to investigate and to really understand what's happening. I mean, and I'm saying this because, I've been challenged to do that at Debswana recently, where I'm spending a lot more time with the sides.
Yeah.
And I'm just amazed at the things that I discovered, the things that I'm learning that I thought I knew. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of, don't get messaging from other people telling you what's going on. Even as a policymaker, for you to policy make and for you to really come up with laws that help regulate certain environments, go and find out the actual realities of the people on the ground.
On the ground,
just reads like fiction, yeah.
I don't think you can be an effective policymaker if you're far removed from the people on the ground.
I'm not trying to imply that they are far removed.
Of course.
I'm trying to imply. No, I'm not trying to imply.
Generally.
Let me qualify this. I'm not trying to imply that they are far removed to the extent that they believe they're not. I just wanted to finish the statement.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
But as a person who's looking at them, I think there's too much of an international focus sometimes, instead of just looking at the very granular, basic elements that need to be explored within our society, where you look at the things that are just not working. I think there are a lot of low-hanging fruits. I mean, like just go buy freaking mattresses, buy freaking books, textbooks, just buy pills, buy Panado, buy high blood pressure medicine. Let's just use these few. I mean, but once we're having all these multiple conferences, and I say this without even targeting any specific individuals or franchises, but once we're, and another thing, Eddie Pito says, when is the talking going to become enough? Hey, I'm not at a point where now I said to people, I can't be speaking at these things any longer because I'm sounding like a broken record to myself. But also the challenge now, people are starting to challenge us for Lali. Hey, I get these things are happening on your watch. These things have happened on your watch. I mean, there are people that openly criticize the government of Botswana, but they've been part and parcel of the system, have made millions from the system, consulting for the system, working for the system. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, but it hasn't translated too much. Now, has it, mate? Because, I mean, there are Botswana in Botswana that have done work for the government of Botswana to the extent to which they're saying and we're saying we're not being listened to. But at some point, people will be forced to listen to us. We need to get on podcasts.
Eventually, yeah.
I mean, this, what I'm doing right now is an act of rebellion. I'm just saying, guys, we can't continue to be talking every year. I've got 2026. Let's say how to Minister of Education. My teacher, teachers can be living bali 6 months, 3 months, 2 rooms.
We spoke about this on the other episode.
Yes. And I'm saying it again, and nothing has changed since then.
Clearly.
And all I'm saying, I'm even challenging myself at my level, where I say to my colleagues that I work with, like, yeah, but don't tell me what you're a metallurgist or you're whatever, you're the head of this or you're the head of this. Go to the mines. This is a mining company. Go understand what employees need on the ground for you to solution for them. Because it's not my solitary job as CPO, it's our collective job. Let's collaborate. Yes. And it's the same thing with the environment. Let's collaborate, even from a CSI perspective. What is it that we as corporates and we as individuals can do for the schools? But, people need to get off the horses. Slightly high horses, I might add.
Stay slightly.
Yeah, and just come down to the ground. There are fundamental issues. There are kids that walk to school. There are kids that on so many different levels of our society, we need to really see how we can collaborate to serve the greater good and to solve issues so that Motswana TKay people are just being politicians and they're reading speeches without even internalizing. There's nothing more sad than going to these things and you see a person reading a speech without internalizing what they're saying.
Ooh.
You know,
Ooh.
it's very sad.
That hurts.
I was actually at a thing was running, and the minister to the office of the presidential office,
Ramhasa, yeah.
I forget the nomenclature of that portfolio.
Right.
But he gave such a heartfelt speech about differently able persons. And over and above that, he also like really spoke to how important it is that we should think about differently abled persons. And at some point, you know, there was a cohort of Debswana employees and other differently able persons who were singing on the stage, and he went and joined them. Like you're looking at this man, you're like, okay, so he really does get it.
Yeah.
And his PS, I think Mahuisamang,
yeah.
you know, she also got on stage and she spoke about the same thing. The people that are passionate about this work, right. And you can see how you keep seeing them in different fora. Where they're actively involved in solution making for these environments. But I think what's most important is that within a place of lack, let's start off with these basic things. Because right now, it's the id of the id before we get to the ego.
Yep.
And then we can interpret everything through the super ego. There's nothing wrong with being elevated in thinking, but let's understand those people that are vested with the responsibility to assist the people at the the vanguards of the society, the people that are ahead in the society, should be able to translate those messages in a manner where they'll be understood amongst the greater populace.
Goodness, man. So listening to you, it just feels like one of those good days, should you receive a phone call asking you to leave Debswana and be part of the public, governmental, political offices.
I don't think I'm ever going to receive that phone call. Let's not have that conversation.
Let's play hypothetical. And this is not me jinxing anything, right?
I don't want to play that.
No?
Mm-mm.
No?
Yeah, I often,
no, but you know what? Why I say that though?
I often feel like, in any kind of environment, different people are meant for different things. I mean, I think the person you should actually have asked that question and that we should bring back on this podcast.
Who's that?
Tapelo Lusolo. Why hasn't Tapelo Lusolo been brought back? Why hasn't he been? Why isn't Tapelo Lusolo being utilized? Why has all these other?
No, but the answer is right there, though, right?
Yeah, all I'm trying to say is like I look at people like Tapelo Lusolo. I'm like, why are they so underutilized?
No, but it's a partisan thing, right? Isn't it a partisan system?
Saying, I think this new government has proven to us that it goes beyond partisan politics.
Could they ever
they have people that are coming from other parties within. I mean, it's never been done in the history of Botswana. I mean, let's give them kudos where kudos are due. Whether they're doing it to appear a particular way, but they are doing it regardless of the intent. But I think the intent is pretty,
right.
It seems pretty,
So there's a chance that they could actually bring a former BDP member of parliament into some position of government.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it depends on whether the person is a citizen. Because you start off by, you're a citizen.
Of course.
You're a person who wants to serve the citizenry. Because leadership is about serving. It's about understanding where it is that you want to go. And I think people like Botapelo Letsola are people that are best suited for that. I don't think people like me are equipped to answer such questions because I think it would be self-serving, to get on a podcast and give an opinion about such.
Of course.
It's almost like I'm now orchestrating a job interview via yourself. they know I'm here. They know where I am. If they want to utilize me, they can.
Man.
And if they don't, it's okay. It's not like I'm in look of a job. I need one.
So you've never really thought about it? You've never really thought
No, I've never applied myself to such. I've always been about a person who likes service, who likes to serve the larger populace and who's very directed towards impact. I understand things like policy making from the perspective that I've never understood why people like me have got kids. Because if you're able to put your child through a private school education, surely let's delineate, access to certain things on the basis of creating proper social welfare states.
You should be able to, yeah.
No, listen, I don't doubt that I can contribute with my eyes closed. What I'm saying is that I'm not imposing myself on anybody, and I'm not interested in having that conversation right
Look, all I was just saying
now. Nah.
was
If you
listening to you.
If you don't tell le campaign and it self-evident. How about the way to go back and tell it? Let's continue with the conversation.
We're gonna leave it alone.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave it alone. I was just of course. I see what you.
I've never seen you like be this conciliating.
No, I'm just like dumbing myself down because
you're not.
Because obviously at the end of the day, right? I listen to a person of your caliber speak, and the stuff that you're talking about, and I consider your experience and the things that you know, both corporate and public governmental space, right? And I listen to the kind of advice that you would give to a person who might be leading this country or people helping him lead this country. And I figure, these are some sentiments that I never actually come across from the people that I need to hear these things from, right? So, notwithstanding the fact that you saying these things should qualify you for anything, it doesn't mean that. But goodness gracious, it does feel good. Hearing it from somebody who is far removed from the space, has opinions about the space. Could it possibly mean someday if there?
Well, I guess really what it is the fact that I talk about things that I've actually done.
You see what I mean?
Because I think Botswana is also littered with people that have opinions about things they haven't actually done. Yeah. And nor are they asking how those things can be done. Can we just say that? Yeah. And in that regard, I'm being quite distinctly and intentionally arrogant.
Of course.
Because I think I've earned my right to be
the one time you get to be arrogant.
That's the one time in my life that I ever actually am arrogant when it comes to the things that I've done, because I've bled.
Right.
I've bled blood and created red earth out of this earth. I've contributed to this country, and I don't think it's something that I should be distinguished for. I think it's my contribution, and it's my contribution to this country, because this country has bled into me as well. And I think when all is said and done, I think people like me need to understand that we're not doing favors to anybody. This is the rights of Botswana to be able to utilize us in the way that Botswana, because how does a school in TKay? People like us, we went to school, it's school in Botswana. Some of us, the people that right now are served by Debswana, those people were working to ensure that I go to school. Those people fought for the unioning to ensure that, certain subsets of people, and we were put in place, and it's now my turn to give back. And I don't look at me giving back as something that is a privilege to the people that I serve. However, I do sometimes disdainfully look at people that opine on things they haven't done. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, opining and actually doing the work is...
You can see the difference.
Two different things.
In the articulation of the facts, this person is a little bit wet behind the ears. But, it's okay. People need to learn. They just need to get coaches and mentors. Not necessarily us, but other people that have done it. There are a lot of people, I always think in Botswana, there are so many people that have done this. There are people that build this country that are still alive. Many people in this country that are there, that are available. We can mention Borremo.
Yes. Shout out.
All these, up until recently, so many people that, from an institutional memory perspective, I mean, people like Botebo all these industry leaders, some of these people that have been put to the side, that are still alive and very active intellectually and otherwise, and have done work. We need to look towards them and ask for the advice, because it's one thing to also want to be able to put a foot forward where you are, as a government, embracing of all. Yeah. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But just make sure that you get guidance for those individuals, because I've learned that a lot of the things that I thought I knew as I've grown up, I did not actually know. And even right now, sometimes I have to suspend my own truth and service to understand it.
Of course. Well, let's play a little game as we close. A little game called Count My Blessings 2025. I'll go first. We're not even describing, explaining. We're just shooting, right? I baked and made a baby.
Yep.
2025, 2nd of June.
Woo!
Right?
Who you did not name after me after I asked? Don't leave me hanging.
I didn't see that.
But it's okay.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's a healthy baby.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. It's all that matters.
So I'm happy about that. I'm excited about that. You know, it's a huge blessing to try. Your turn.
I actually got to the place in my life where I stopped being a people pleaser.
You
Yeah. Imagine.
have been a people's pleaser?
Imagine I have.
That is
For the
crazy.
longest time, I had a problem with saying no. You know, I've been a huge people pleaser throughout these years. These days, I'm just like, no, I don't have the time. I'm not answering my phone. I'm taking time out for myself.
Crazy.
You know, like I'm setting boundaries. I'm like, nah. You know, I'm literally like, that for me, I think is a highlight of my year.
Of course.
Something just clicked to, I was like, nah. And plus, takers don't have limitations. You know?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm not a nice person or anything, but really, in fact, I actually don't care who thinks I'm a nice person because I know I am. But I've
The
stopped.
people that need to know already.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the highlight of my year.
I love
You
that.
know, just even being able to say no to my siblings, you know, where I'm just like, no, I don't want visitors. I don't want anybody coming to my house messing it up and not cleaning up to themselves, saying no to my own kids.
Who is that? Who is that? The NFL coach, GOAT coach, whose sons are also in the. Is it Sanders?
Yeah.
I recently came across a clip. He was telling me about. He was talking about.
He was in the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders.
Deion.
Yeah.
So he was telling me. He was talking about how he has a 3-day rule at his house.
Yeah.
Whoever you are, sibling, mom, dad.
Yeah.
He says if you come to his house to visit, you are there for 3 days.
Yeah, you better be ours.
You're arriving. The next day, we're going around some places. We're checking things. The next day, hey.
I haven't quite perfected that with my mom because my mom is like slightly older.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to treasure every moment that I spend with my mom.
Of course,
right?
of course.
But with my siblings, certainly, I'm just like, nah. After 2 hours, I'm like, yeah, it's enough. You can actually take the alcohol with you if you want it.
You can go.
Or whatever it is you want. Like, or you can stay in the house and house it, but I'm leaving, right?
Right.
Yeah, but with just, but I think my siblings and you know, my close relatives, it is, in a sense, I do feel like they have a right to some of what I have because they've also helped build it, you know, together with, you know, partners, et cetera, and in-laws. I just think with friends, I think for the longest time, I didn't realize that I was a bit of a people pleaser, and I would say yes to everything and overcommit to times, overcommit to things.
Yo, is this true?
Pressure. I swear to God.
Is this true?
I swear to God. There's nobody responding to say it's true.
No, he's signing language. She's been a people's pleaser all her life.
Yeah. The whole time.
That is.
He actually complains about it all the time. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm at a point where I'm just
Mr.
like,
P.
nah, I want my space. I even say I've unplugged.
No, you're not going anywhere. He's trying to run away.
I swear he'll tell you.
Jesus
Yeah, but
Christ.
and people pleasers come in all forms. You can be a very strong person and still be a people pleaser. So 2025, the highlight is that
Being
I'm
able to.
unapologetically like, nah, I'm not doing this.
Okay.
Whatever you think of me, as it is anyway, people are still gonna talk as HIT about you.
Yeah, I know. And so, holidays, what do you have and the family plan for?
Sleeping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's for me, I don't have the money to travel in December. I have to think about, you know, January.
You know, people that are watching this, Matty,
I don't have the money to travel in December.
it's like, how does the CPO at Debswana say she does not have money to travel?
It doesn't make financial sense for anybody to travel.
Oh, yeah. There's that white thing that you told me about early on.
Yeah.
How the whites feel like it's kind of dumb for any travel during the...
Well, to generalize, like a friend of mine who is Caucasian, which is like, yeah, poor people travel in December. You know, like
That's
people
the
wait
exact statement I was looking
particularly
for.
like vacations and stuff. Because, I mean, tickets, literally a few weeks later,
Good.
everything else, even buying in December, like right now, if you go to Cape Town in January, whatever everything that is right now being sold at whatever premium price will be half the price mid-January at some point.
I know.
I mean, tickets are literally, a third of the price, January, February. The best time to actually travel is around February and then March, Between, this time. But listen, this is not to say people that can afford it are poor. I'm not even trying to say that. I don't want to be attacked. All I'm saying is...
Let's be attacked.
I do not...
Please attack us.
I don't
it's
have the
fine.
money. I do not have
Give us your best shot.
to travel in December.
Right.
So I'm staying put. I'm just going to be right here, sleeping, unplugged, I just started watching Game of Thrones yesterday again.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
GOT.
I just watched it before. I'm watching it again.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, GOT is like the way,
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch it again. It always reminds me of life's lessons. I think anybody who has not watched Game of Thrones does not understand how a game of chess is played.
Oh, yeah. Is there one lesson at all that comes out of GOT?
Yeah, the fact that know who you are.
Know who you are.
And own who you are like a piece of armor. That way, nobody can ever use it to hurt you or use it against you. Like once you know who you are, you own it. Yes, it's your armor. So before people can tell you about who you are, like when TKay over, hey, when they're trying to diminish.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Hey, like if you're a person who has dwarfism, they'll tell you about Horolo Mponyi. If you're a person who's got crossed eyes or whatever it is, or the Swahi or the Swahi. So I got to take that knowledge of who you are, know who you are. If you're the child of somebody who the mother or the father was unmarried, know that you're the child who's gonna, the B word is gonna be used, as in you'll be called the and call yourself that and own that knowledge.
Yeah, just dilute the whole thing, neutralize it. Right?
I don't even neutralize it, just own it. Own but in owning it,
you neutralize.
You are neutralizing. Yeah, you're actually right.
Or the intended effect.
But that is a TK, yeah.
Why would you be hanging with me, Matt?
Exactly.
It's like
I love you, man.
I love you, and
it's been such a pleasure.
It's been a year, man. You have there's a lot of things that happened this year to me and for me that have been a direct consequence of just hanging out with you. And I think that's what life really is about, right? There's a story about some guy who was struggling. He was an attorney, and then he was at a conference, and there was another huge attorney that had come to the same conference. And so the fact that he was associated, had a meeting with this person in front of these many people, including clients that would have come to him but could not because they didn't believe in him. The moment they saw him with this advocate, they imagined that they were in the same, birds of the same feathers must flock together. They must be really similarly smart and intelligent, because why else are they hanging out together, right? And so the power of association is something that I saw. Well, the end of the story of that is that he got huge clients after after that conference, right?
And so it's so interesting you should say that. There's this joke that my siblings and I have, right?
Yeah.
So it's directly tied to what you're saying, and it's in closing.
Yeah.
So my dad was an operator at the smelter in BCL. So he had very little education, but he had the knack of like language. He was just a linguist. I mean, whether Setswana or English, and I think some of us have taken after him. But he had this thing of like the birds of the same feather flock together. But he would use these huge words. And I just wanted to share this as a Christmas gift with the president of Botswana, that he can use it. But he would say, I swear to God, he would say, ornithological specimens of identical plumage perambulate in close proximity. You hear that? Birds of the same feather flock together.
Same thing.
And I just wanted to say on this podcast to the people that argue with President Duma Boko and argue with his English, it's okay. Even my dad would say birds of the same feathers flock together.
Yeah.
But he would say mythological specimens of identical plumage perambulate in close proximity. Love you, my friend.
Love you. And that's just how we end it.
Yeah.
And this is dropping on Christmas Day, by the way.
Yes.
On Wednesday, 25th. So
And happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And I look forward to next year.
Bigger and greater.
We are not dying poor.
We're not. No.
Dying poor.
That's not our
Can I
portion.
do that? Yeah.
So I don't close this. You close this. This is
I
your.
want you to close
I
it.
close this?
Yes.
Oh, man. Guys, thank you so much for your subscription on The Remarkable. You've clearly seen some remarkable people on The Remarkable podcast with Matty. Thank you for what you're doing, sharing, and all of that. We take everything, good, bad, negative, positive. It's all just feedback, and we use it to grow this amazing platform that we have. And for just being part of this family, we appreciate you, bottom of our hearts. Merry Christmas, because this is dropping today, and it's happy Merry Christmas. And just take care of yourself and family, and make sure that you cross over into the new year safe and alive. Very important. Until we see each other next year, 2026, when we become more remarkable and bring more remarkable people on the podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.